Just one seemingly harmless meal, one mouthful of moldy peanuts or a reused pan of oil, could spark a silent countdown to disaster. That chilling statement might sound extreme at first, yet it reflects a deeply unsettling truth that medical experts around the world have been voicing for years. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on an invisible threat that thrives in countless homes. Our focus? The harsh reality of how specific hidden habits can increase the risk of a dangerous illness many fear, liver cancer. So, what exactly is going on behind closed kitchen doors? How are some of the most routine actions, like storing grain products, sipping alcoholic beverages at friendly gatherings, or reusing cooking oil for a quick fry, turning into potential invitations for disease? And what about those daily pills, vitamins, or supplements that seem so harmless? In this episode, we are going to dig deep into all these questions, shining a light into the corners of our daily lifestyle where danger might be lurking. Yes, it is time to confront the uncomfortable. Here is our plan. First, we will examine how seemingly innocent mold on peanuts, beans, or rice can be more treacherous than we ever imagined. Then we will reveal how the body's second largest organ, the liver, struggles mightily under the onslaught of social drinking habits that spiral out of control. Next, we will expose the toxic transformations that happen when stale cooking oil is used again and again, conjuring up a slew of harmful chemicals that slip into our system. Finally, we will unveil the subtle but damaging effects of overusing pills, antibiotics, or untested herbal remedies. We promise you a riveting look at a topic that can, at first glance, appear mundane, but holds the key to safeguarding not only your health, but potentially your very life. If at any point you find yourself surprised, intrigued, or personally touched by these revelations, we would love for you to give a quick thumbs up to show your support. It is a small gesture that helps us know we are on the right track in bringing you valuable insights. Let us begin our journey by talking about a moment that is all too familiar. You open your cupboard to grab some peanuts or beans you stored a while ago, only to see a small, fuzzy patch of mold growing on one corner. Many people might shrug, flick off the offending patch, and proceed to cook or eat the rest, assuming that washing or heating will remedy the problem. But here is the shocking reality. There is a substance called aflatoxin that can develop in moldy grains and seeds, and cooking will not get rid of it. This toxin has the unflinching notoriety of being a known carcinogen, capable of setting the stage for serious liver ailments down the line. In some regions around the world, including parts of Southeast Asia, these mold issues may be even more pronounced due to climate conditions, high humidity, frequent rains, and insufficient storage techniques. Food safety experts and doctors like the renowned specialists at Tom On General Hospital in Hanoi underscore the importance of discarding items that smell off or show any signs of discoloration. The financial cost of throwing away questionable food is far less severe than the potential health consequences one might face by consuming it. But how can such a minuscule fungus cause such a powerful blow to the body's defenses? The trick lies in the extreme resilience of aflatoxin. Even after thorough rinsing and cooking at normal temperatures, it remains steadfast, ready to wreak havoc on unsuspecting bodies. Once ingested, perhaps by that single bite of moldy corn, peanut, or bean, aflatoxin can cause long-term damage to the cells of the liver. Our livers, though incredibly robust and capable of regenerating themselves under normal conditions, do not respond well to repeated assaults. Over time, these toxins transform healthy cells into defective ones, potentially leading to mutations, cirrhosis, and even later stages of liver cancer. The disease progression may remain undetected for years, which is part of what makes this threat so insidious. There is often no immediate sign that something has gone horribly wrong inside the body until the problem has grown substantially. So, yes, mold can be a real villain, one hidden in unsuspecting places around your home. But it is not alone. Let us shift gears now and talk about something that is perhaps more familiar or even socially acceptable: alcohol. How many times have you heard someone say, "Have another drink, it will not hurt," or "A glass of wine every day is great for your health"? While moderate consumption of alcohol might be relatively safe for many, the danger lies in crossing that elusive line where the harmful effects outweigh the pleasant buzz. Once the line is crossed, whether it is by daily drinking or frequent binge sessions, the toll on the liver becomes significant. Consider the remarkable role your liver plays. It works ceaselessly to process toxins, break down substances, and clear out impurities from your bloodstream. When you drink too much alcohol, the liver's detoxification process overproduces acetaldehyde, a very toxic substance that can harm the structure of liver cells and hamper their ability to regenerate. You might be able to guess the chain reaction this sets off. At first, it may lead to a fatty liver, a condition marked by the unhealthy accumulation of fat in liver cells. Then, if the habit persists, fibrous scar tissue starts to replace healthy tissue, resulting in cirrhosis. With cirrhosis, the organ's ability to function is drastically compromised, and once cirrhosis begins to deepen, the next stage can indeed be liver cancer. Still, many people fail to connect that casual weekend drinking or the daily nightcap to such a serious outcome. Alcohol also interacts dangerously with other risk factors if you have underlying liver conditions such as hepatitis B or hepatitis C, making the journey to liver damage even faster. In Vietnam, for instance, specialists note that liver cancer continues to be alarmingly widespread, ranking high in both incidence and mortality, according to data from Globocan in the year 2022. Regular checkups become doubly important if you have any family history of liver disease or carry hepatitis viruses. You can hope to spot early warnings, like elevated levels of specific enzymes, that might indicate a problem. But truly, prevention remains the most reliable strategy. Limiting alcohol intake or cutting it out entirely if you already exhibit signs of liver trouble is a wise and potentially life-saving step. Before we proceed to our next point, consider taking a moment to show your support by subscribing to our channel. If you have found these findings thought-provoking so far, you will not want to miss our deeper explorations into the world of hidden health hazards. Now, let us delve into an unsuspected corner of the kitchen, that large frying pan of oil we all tend to reuse. After all, you have already heated the oil once. Why let it go to waste, especially when it gets more flavorful with each fry, right? Well, not quite. In truth, each use of cooking oil, particularly at high temperatures, alters its chemical composition. Once used, the heat can trigger reactions that begin to release substances like acrolein and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. And that is not all. Repeated heating can also spawn aldehydes, which are known to potentially damage genetic material in cells. Imagine tiny, invisible chemical troublemakers swirling inside a sizzling pan. The more you reuse the same batch of oil, the more these troublemakers multiply. Our livers, which have the unenviable job of detoxifying all sorts of substances, may find themselves overworked and overwhelmed when faced with never-ending streams of these damaging compounds. The modern world presents no shortage of toxins for our bodies to manage: pesticides, air pollution, processed foods full of preservatives, and, of course, pockets of repeated cooking oil. Each factor alone might pose a manageable risk, but combined, they can push the liver to its breaking point. Doctors emphasize that timing is everything. Reusing oil once might still be relatively safe if stored and handled carefully, but the margin for error is small, which leads medical professionals to recommend that you avoid reusing oil more than twice, if at all possible. Additionally, it is wise to consider limiting fried food in general. Despite the undeniable appeal of crispy fries and golden fried meats, consistent consumption of these highly fatty and chemically altered meals can take a brutal toll on your body over time. Strategies like steaming, boiling, or grilling with minimal amounts of oil offer a more health-conscious alternative. Not only can these cooking methods reduce the intake of potentially harmful byproducts, they can also preserve the nutritional value of the food, allowing your body to receive the vitamins and minerals it needs without unwanted toxins. We now arrive at our final and perhaps most deceptively normal risk factor: the overuse of medications and supplements. Yes, you heard that right. We live in an age where nearly every ache and pain has a quick fix in the form of a pill. Feeling a mild headache? Pop an over-the-counter painkiller? Worried about a looming cold? Load up on antibiotics, maybe even leftover tablets from a previous prescription. Looking to maximize physical performance or replicate the radiant skin of celebrities? Reach for untested herbal supplements that promise the world but might hide questionable ingredients. All these are common impulses, especially in a go-getter culture that frowns upon any slowdown and champions quick solutions over careful long-term strategies. However, our bodies, and specifically our livers, remain on the front lines of this chemical onslaught. Every pill, capsule, or herbal potion you swallow passes through the liver for processing. Certain painkillers, anti-inflammatory drugs, and antibiotics are known for their hepatic side effects, particularly if taken in large doses or for prolonged periods. Even some so-called natural or herbal products carry unsuspected risks. The wild array of unregulated supplements on the market means that you never really know what lurks inside that bright green bottle, promising endless vitality. The labeling might be incomplete or inaccurate. In the worst cases, contaminants like heavy metals, steroids, or other adulterants could slip in, paving the way for severe liver inflammation. This brings us to an unsettling thought. Because the liver is so resilient, it often continues working silently even when under great stress, failing to broadcast the clear warning signs we might expect. When symptoms do appear, whether it is extreme fatigue, jaundice, discolored stool, or persistent abdominal pain, the problem has often advanced to a stage that is much harder to reverse. Dr. Lu Thao Ngoc from Tam On General Hospital in Hanoi and many other experts advise self-restraint. Take painkillers only under the guidance of qualified professionals. Limit antibiotic consumption to genuine microbial infections that truly require it. And stay far away from unverified supplements that have no reliable stamp of approval. Now, let us highlight a frequently overlooked aspect: synergy. The term polypharmacy refers to taking multiple medications concurrently, sometimes from different doctors who might not be coordinating with each other. While each medication may be safe on its own, combining them can produce side effects that multiply, ultimately irritating liver tissues. Add an existing condition like hepatitis B or C, and the dice roll becomes incredibly risky. If you are genuinely in need of several prescription medications, it is advisable to maintain open communication with all your healthcare providers to ensure they are aware of your complete regimen. In essence, making your medical team aware of all pharmaceuticals and supplements you use can translate into more finely tuned care and a much lower chance of unanticipated drug interactions. Earlier, we mentioned that certain countries, including Vietnam, are dealing with a significant burden of liver cancer, placing it near the top as one of the leading causes of cancer-related death. There are multiple factors that contribute to this painful statistic. Long-standing issues like hepatitis B and C infection, coupled with a growing trend of harmful lifestyle habits, have created a perfect storm for the disease to flourish. Cultural or social norms of heavy drinking in certain gatherings add another layer of risk. And let us not forget the farmland storages that might keep grains in moist or poorly ventilated environments, increasing the likelihood of mold growth. The result? A discrete but steady rise in the incidence of liver ailments, from fatty liver disease all the way up to late-stage liver cancer. In response, health ministries and countless medical experts are pushing for education, early detection, and safer practices at all levels of society. You might be used to hearing about major killers like lung cancer or heart disease, yet the stark existence of liver cancer is no less urgent. The difference is that, despite its severity, it tends to remain overshadowed in public discourse. This is partly because many people do not feel that immediate sense of alarm with liver disease. After all, when we talk about the lungs, we think of breathing, which is a constant, obvious process. But the liver is more mysterious. It does its work quietly behind the scenes, out of sight and often out of mind. Over time, that stealth can become the biggest downfall for a patient with undiagnosed cancer. By the time alarming symptoms appear, the disease may have progressed too far. So, what can be done? On a societal scale, improving food safety protocols and storage methods is paramount. Stronger regulations on what can be sold in markets, consistent checks on produce, and educational programs tackling everything from grain storage to supplement usage are all crucial steps. Equally important are the calls by medical professionals for routine examinations. You do not need to be visibly ill to book a screening. In fact, the best time to check the condition of your liver is precisely when you feel fine. Catching subtle changes early can mean the difference between a fully treatable ailment and a potentially fatal crisis. Vaccines, particularly for hepatitis B, have proven very effective in reducing infection rates where they are administered widely. Many doctors will encourage you to consult with your healthcare provider about immunization, especially if there is a history of liver ailments in your family. To this day, many individuals remain unaware that a simple blood test can detect hepatitis viruses early, enabling them to practice caution in their daily habits and limit the consumption of alcohol or certain medications. It is equally vital to keep an eye on body weight and overall metabolic health. The modern epidemic of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is intricately tied to an array of factors: diets high in sugar, excessive caloric intake, sedentary lifestyles, and stress. When it comes to the liver, everything is connected. Overconsumption of sweet beverages and refined carbohydrates can encourage fat buildup in the liver, putting additional strain on an already delicate system. Add frequent antibiotic usage, the presence of mold-based toxins, or repeated exposure to industrial chemicals from reusing old cooking oil, and you have an environment that fosters the slow but consistent destruction of healthy liver cells. The final frontier often involves the unstoppable escalation to cirrhosis and, in some cases, malignant tumors. One of the most perplexing corners of this entire issue is how unbelievably common it is to see people ignoring the warnings. A neighbor might say, "I have always eaten leftover rice, even when I see slight mold. I just reheat it, and nothing bad has happened to me so far." Another might proclaim, "I have used the same container of cooking oil for frying up to 5 or 6 times, and my grandparents did the same." Meanwhile, a friend from work might persist with daily painkillers for minor aches, rationalizing that it is just a mild medication. The entire spectrum of these habits is so profoundly woven into ordinary behavior that they almost seem normal, until tragedy strikes. This is why we must speak up more openly about the small changes we can make. Maybe you vow today to carefully check your stored grain products once a week, discarding anything suspicious without hesitation. Perhaps you will set a personal limit on how often you consume alcoholic beverages in a month, or maybe you will adopt a brand new cooking approach, exploring grilled fish with a minimal dash of oil instead of that repetitive deep fry. And let us not forget that you can always consult a medical professional before starting any supplement or medication, even if it is herbal. Empowering yourself with knowledge is the best strategy. Crucially, remember that despite the grim tone of all these warnings, there is real hope. The liver is a champion of regeneration when given the chance. Many individuals with early-stage fatty liver disease can successfully reverse the damage through healthy eating, moderate physical activity, and restricted alcohol use. Even cirrhosis can sometimes be managed to a point where patients lead fulfilling lives for years without further escalations to cancer, if diagnosed and supported properly. But do not underestimate the complexity of these diseases or the cunning nature of the toxins involved. The best approach is to avoid or limit them altogether. That means immediate disposal of any moldy or foul-smelling grains, storing food in cool and dry places to minimize fungus growth, cooking fresh meals with adequate oil quality, and being sparing with medications, especially if they are not absolutely necessary or if they come without reputable oversight. It is also essential to remain vigilant about your health status by scheduling regular checkups and screenings, even when you do not feel any discomfort. The layers of our daily lives are woven seamlessly into our body's tapestry, and the threads of small missteps can form pockets of harm that escalate over time. Liver cancer is not a random lightning bolt on a clear day. It is, more often than we realize, the endpoint of a gradual storm that has been gathering for months, even years, sometimes hidden in your favorite peanut jar, sometimes lurking in that extra glass of wine at dinner, sometimes swirling in a reused skillet, and sometimes in an over-the-counter pill that seems so harmless. Against this backdrop, do not forget that real power lies in knowledge followed by consistent action. You can turn your daily routines into a fortress for your well-being, not a gateway for illness. If you have found something in this discussion that strikes a chord, pass it on to friends and family who might benefit from learning these truths. Awareness does not just help you as an individual. Collective understanding can shift entire communities towards safer practices. As we come to a close, let us remember the 4 invisible culprits that deserve a permanent place on your radar: moldy food containing the treacherous aflatoxin, heavy alcohol consumption that chips away at the liver's regenerative ability, reused cooking oil that spawns toxic chemical chains, and the unregulated or excessive use of medications and supplements that force the liver into a state of chronic alarm. We have seen how each one can quietly sabotage our health, and it turns out that simplicity is a valuable tool for defense. Keep ingredients fresh, moderate social drinking, limit fried foods, consult professionals before taking medication or supplements, and prioritize routine medical checkups. By doing so, you can stand a far greater chance of escaping some of the most devastating outcomes these silent threats carry. Thank you deeply for remaining with us through this important topic. We hope you have uncovered insights that will help fortify your everyday life. If you feel that rush of motivation right now, we encourage you, only if it resonates, to show your appreciation by sharing this message with someone who might need a gentle wake-up call. Together, we can transform these hidden health risks into widely recognized, manageable issues. With knowledge and the will to act, we can keep the silent threats at bay and protect our well-being for years, if not decades, to come.